So in today's video, we're doing the top 5 neighborhoods in Virginia Beach for 2025. So every year I love to go through my favorite neighborhoods that I like to focus on in a specific year. And this year, 2025, I got some real good neighborhoods that have not made it on the list. And so we're going to talk about all the different price ranges. So if you have a budget of $1 million or of 400,000, you'll have neighborhoods in this list. And number 5 this year in 2025 is Fairfield. So where is Fairfield? If you've never heard of Fairfield, I'm going to show you where it is on the map. You got Virginia Beach on the eastern side of the south side. We're in like the central west part of Virginia Beach. So zooming out, you see Virginia Beach Town Center, which is kind of in the central part of Virginia Beach, which is south of there. You got Kempsville Road right here. Kempsville and Princess Anne Road connect right here. Now that's a pretty significant intersection, but right next to that, you see Fairfield right here. Fairfield is a pretty big neighborhood. It's got several different types of houses in it, but it spans from one side of Kempsville Road all the way over to Providence Road, which is one of the benefits of being in Fairfield, is that you can get from one side of the neighborhood to the other pretty easily and get to different parts of the city relatively easily too. So I love Fairfield. I think it is one of the most solid, check all the boxes that you can find, 4 or 5 bedroom houses, 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. You'll see them bigger than that. You'll see nice sized lots. You've got brick ranch, brick 2-story, but you got a mixture of houses in here. But these houses are also very well built. These are mostly built in the 70s time period. Now, it's a very central spot, as you can see zooming out. I mentioned being close to Town Center. You're a few minutes away from Town Center, but you're also close to multiple different interstate exits to 264, which takes you over to Virginia Beach, and also 64, only about 6 minutes away from the 64 interchange, which takes you to Norfolk, takes you to Chesapeake, and also, of course, downtown Norfolk all the way across the 264. So you've got pretty much the easy access to all the different parts of Hampton Roads in the south side, even towards the peninsula, and you can get up to the interstate pretty quickly. So I like this neighborhood because it is extremely quiet, even though you're very close to multiple busy roads that get you to the rest of town. You have the size lots that are very comfortable. Nice backyard sizes in a lot of these cases. Now, they're not massive, and I think that might be one of the drawbacks to Fairfield is you're not going to have too many houses that have huge backyards. You'll see some backed up into near the waterways that connect to the Elizabeth River, and actually some on the Elizabeth River, and those can have bigger backyards. That can make some added demand for those types of houses. They're in the corners of the neighborhood, and you've got a lot of cul-de-sacs, small streets. So as you come into the neighborhood, you'll see, look at all these little cul-de-sacs that bump up out of the main roads that connect through the rest of the neighborhood. Lord Dunmore Drive is a main road, Fairfield Boulevard, and Balfour Drive. Those are 3 primary ones. But as you bump up off of those, it's cul-de-sac upon cul-de-sac upon cul-de-sac. So each part of the neighborhood can be very extremely quiet as you get off of those main roads. In addition to that, you've got Fairfield Park, a park in the middle of the neighborhood. The houses are awesome. You have the different styles. You have a lot of brick ranches. So if you're a ranch fan, you'll have ranches that are like 2,800, 2,800 square feet. That kind of sprawl on those lots. And people have often added onto these houses in the backs as well, because there's a space in the back, not necessarily on the sides. Now the price ranges, you're talking low 400s, you can squeeze in and get maybe the smallest house in the neighborhood. Most of these are going to be between the mid 400s and the upper 5s, and you can see them creeping up over 6 at this point now. Some of those larger ones that may have larger lots too, 615, 620. So for the price, all things considered, you're not getting anything that's like drastically way better than anything else you'll see in Virginia Beach. But you're going to get, I'd say, a lot of your boxes checked for the price, especially with the size of house and the type of neighborhood that it is. Love it a lot. I love being close to lots of things. And being in Fairfield allows you that. Now, the school districts in Fairfield are Fairfield Elementary School, Kempsville Middle, and Kempsville High School. So you can, of course, do your research on niche.com and greatschools.org to learn more about the schools in each area that we're talking about. These are very convenient to Fairfield. I mean, extremely close. Fairfield's right down the street, and of course, Kempsville Middle and High School are also very close too. So that's a pretty positive thing if you do have kids in Fairfield in the neighborhood. These are pretty convenient schools. Also, on top of that, you've got shopping nearby. You're right close to the Fairfield Shopping Center, which is right in front of the neighborhood. Kroger, Food Lion, multiple other, True Value hardware stores, those type of local shops that are in Fairfield Shopping Center. And on the other side of Fairfield, on the north side, there's Princess Anne Road and another Food Lion on that side. Now, there are a couple of good restaurants nearby also. One that I like, that's a really cool diner, that if you like diners, nothing really, outlandish, but this has that like local diner feel, which is the classic diner, which is on the south part of the corner of Providence Road and Kimsville Road. Caponara Ramen, another good ramen place that is on that same corner. And then going up north, going towards the north part of Kimsville Road and Princess Anne Road, near the same shopping center as the Food Line, is Misob Cafe, which is an Ethiopian restaurant. Excellent, very tiny, but excellent food if you like ethnic food. Now, some drawbacks, a couple of them. Now, in this neighborhood, you can have, because these houses are built in the 70s, some of these have not been renovated before. You know, like maybe if someone had an estate that they may have just sold, like those houses may not have been touched for 40, 50 years. So you may have updated electrical work to do, plumbing, cast iron drain lines to the street, possibly, roof, windows, all those things could be dated. So you may have some of those types of houses that are cheaper that might need those types of things replaced or renovated. In addition to that, off of the Elizabeth River, if you're backed up to Elizabeth River, you might have some flood insurance needed if you're in the corners of some of these areas that are closest to the river. So you'll have a little bit higher payment because of these insurance premiums that will be higher. So zooming out from my number 5 video, going to my number 4 video in Virginia Beach is over into the Great Neck part of Virginia Beach, which is one of the most sought after parts of Virginia Beach in general. But the western side of Great Neck, I think, is one of the best values in anywhere in the city of Virginia Beach. And this neighborhood is Trent Berkshire. So if you're zooming in, you see Great Neck is right here. If you've never seen Great Neck before, you have Great Neck, you have Little Neck, you have the two necks. Great Neck is the largest of the two, and this is the closest to the beach. And you've also got two, you can connect on one side, the north side, and the south side. So on the western side is where we're talking about Trent Berkshire, on this spot right here, all just north of Inland View Road, near North Great Neck. This area has water access, some real nice water access that takes you up towards the Lynn Haven River, all the way up to the Chesapeake Bay, up to the ocean. So you have some pretty nice water spots. And also, these are also houses built in the 60s. So you'll see some like the 2,000 square foot range. You'll see some in the 3,000 square foot range. You'll see them way over that. 3,000 and up. Now, most of these are going to be between like 2,500 square feet and 3,500 square feet, but you'll see them, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 and up square feet, especially when you're getting around the water on the edges of the neighborhood. They're built in the 60s and 70s. You have some very unique elevations or faces of houses. That's why I like this neighborhood, because you have a little bit more of a randomness here. I think that has added some character to the neighborhood that maybe you might not be able to find as much of in Virginia Beach. You see the variety. You'll see some of those, like that. That's a great example. The big sprawling ranch that had the tall windows. I think that you don't see that very much, because houses built in the 60s and 70s, a lot of times you'll see houses that have the windows are much smaller. And so you have a lot less natural light. And so some of these ranches have those big, tall windows that extend down closer to the ground. I like that because you can get more natural light in there. And that's what you'll see often in Trent Berkshire. And of course, you got the trees. I love the trees in Trent Berkshire. You got the lot sizes are awesome. Nice long driveways in a lot of cases. So if you're looking around here, a lot of these houses are going to have the water access that you really like. If you go up to the corners of the neighborhoods, some of the nicest water access in all of Virginia Beach. So I'm going to show you. You see, zooming in right on the edge there. These are some of those bigger houses, like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 square foot houses. But as you're boating through the Lynn Haven River, you'll see, down towards Trent Berkshire, you'll run into some of these spots, and they just look so picturesque because you got the trees and the houses all blended in together on the water. Now, the houses on the water start in the $900 price range if you want the smallest little corner nook of water. I don't even know if I would say expect that, because most of these on the water will be $1 million to $1.5 to $2 million. You'll see them over $3 million in some cases, those bigger ones on the water. Now, off the water, some of these houses can be anywhere from $600,000 to $800,000, and so you'll see them up to $9 and $1 million off the water. So it depends on the house size, condition, all that stuff. But you have a big mixture of price range in here, and if you don't need to be on water, you can get a nice value for what you are getting. Now, that is Trentwood Elementary School, Great Neck Middle, and Cox High School District. Those are some of the most in-demand school districts in this part of Virginia Beach. So I think that also adds to the value here and what you're paying for, because it's not necessarily cheap. It's just what you're getting. You're getting a lot for what you're paying for. And you're right off of North Great Neck Road, which I think is very helpful, because you can take that all the way up to the north part towards Shore Drive, up towards Chicks Beach, and that whole side of Virginia Beach, and also down towards Laskin Road and on that side of Virginia Beach as well. And so you can even take First Colonial down quicker to Hilltop, which has a lot of shopping. Trader Joe's is there, Whole Foods is there. You're probably 8-10 minutes away from Whole Foods. You got great restaurants in Hilltop. Belati is one of my favorites, Mediterranean place. If you like beer, there's a good local brewery called Wasserhund, which is in Hilltop also. A lot of nice kind of boutique shops as well, coffee shops that are good in Hilltop. So I like being close to Hilltop. So now zooming out from there, my number 3 neighborhood in Virginia Beach is one I love for the price, which is Indian Lakes, going down the south part of Virginia Beach, further down from Fairfield, all the way towards the Indian River Road and Farrell Parkway intersection. So there's a big neighborhood called Indian Lakes all through Farrell Parkway, Indian Lakes Boulevard. You'll have different sides of the neighborhood. You'll have townhouses, you got single family houses. Over here, you got some over here right next to Acredale, all through Indian Lakes Boulevard. On this side, Pleasant Valley. Over here, this is all Indian Lakes over here. On the far end, you'll see some townhouses that are Indian Lakes. So this whole section here is Indian Lakes, in the Indian Lakes HOA, which has a pool, which I think for the price, in the 3s and 4s, you can get you get the pool access and you get a low HOA, only $30 a month for the HOA. So I like this area because not only are you close to the interstate, so Interstate 64 is right here, but you're also close to many major roads. You have Indian Lakes Boulevard, Farrell Parkway, Indian River Road, Kempsville Road. You can, just one turn can get you to different parts of the area very quickly. I love that about Indian Lakes. Now, you also have lakes, Indian Lakes, which, they're not big lakes, but you have some houses on the lakes, and so that has some nice little added backyard vibe if you're on those lakes. And there's different size of houses here too. So you have houses here as low as 1,000 to 1,200 square feet in the low 300 price range. Then you'll have, most of them will be anywhere from like the 1,500 square foot range, like the 2,300 square foot, in the mid to upper 3s into the low to mid 400 price range. And you'll see some that are the biggest ones, 25 and up, 2,600 square feet. You'll see pushing 460-ish, 470 at this point, but most of these will be the 350 to 440 or so. And I like the fact that in Indian Lakes, you'll have different parts of it. So one part has the townhouses. You'll have one other part that has a smaller single family house with less yard, maybe like the mid 300s. Those don't feel as spread out as what you'll find on the other side, on the western side of Indian Lakes, which will have more sprawling ranches. Still not huge lots, but very manageable, but not super tiny either. And they'll be more into like the 4-ish and up price range in that side of Indian Lakes. So I like the fact that you can have different selections for different price ranges based on what you feel like you can afford. Even in the townhouses, those are going to be in the mid 2s to the low 300 price range. 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom style in the 1,200 to 1,600 square foot range. So you have pretty much all these span of options from the lowest possible 1,000 square foot single families up to like the 2,500 square foot range. I do like the fact too that a lot of these, especially the ones in the 4s range, will have two-car garages, which you don't see that too much for the price range, even for the time of the year built. I mean, you normally don't see too many neighborhoods like this that have the extra garage space, which I think people that do want to be in the 400s price range don't always have the option to have that 2-car garage. So I think this makes Indian Lakes, to me, more valuable, more interesting for the price. A lot of the ones in the 400s price range also have been renovated, and so like these houses being built in the 70s and the early 80s, you'll see those renovations starting to happen a lot more. So that's what kind of can push the value up as well. I do think that there is some good value here for houses that are maybe cheaper. You can get one for in the cheaper price range in the mid 300s and do some renovating and get some value, some appreciation and sweat equity out of the work that you might do. And you're also in Indian Lakes Elementary School District, Brandon Middle School, and Salem High School District. Now, shopping and restaurants, and you're so close to stuff. I mean, you're not down the street from Harris Teeter. Real nice Harris Teeter, and of course the Wawa Food Line right across the street from parts of Indian Lakes. You got Kemps River Crossing across the street from there. Outback, and there's some chains and whatnot, Chick-fil-A across the street from there. Zooming out from there, again, you're close to Fairfield. You're close to all the areas near where Fairfield neighborhood is too. So very, very accessible to lots of shopping. I think if you find that you want to move to a place like Indian Lakes, I think you'll get a lot of the boxes that you want checked too. So I like the neighborhoods that check the boxes, right? I like paying for as good of a balance as possible. I just love that. So that leads me to my number 2 neighborhood in Virginia Beach for 2025. It's actually going north from there into near Fairfield, but across the Elizabeth River. This one, for the price, in the 3s and 4s price range, one of my favorites for the price range, it's sneaky, off of Princess Anne Road, is Carolanne Farms. So this is it right here. Zooming in, this is it right here. I love Carolanne Farms for the price. And you're talking 3 to 4 bedrooms mostly, 1,500 square foot up to like 2,000, 2,500 square feet in the mid 3s into the 4s. And that price range is a very popular targeted range because you want to get as much balance as you can, the most for your money, but you also want a nice neighborhood. You'll get some different styles of houses in Carolanne Farms, so depending on where you are in the neighborhood. And the further back you go, I think you'll find that it gets quieter. There's more trees in the back, I found. You can be backing up closer to the Carolanne Farms Neighborhood Park, which I think is one of the most underrated features of a neighborhood in Virginia Beach, especially on the western side of Virginia Beach. You come out of the neighborhood, the park is right there, and it takes you to a kayak launch on the very edge of the trail. So that is also pretty cool because you can take the kayak out into the Elizabeth River. So being close to that is great. It kind of reminds me of the access you get in Windsor Oaks and Windsor Woods over to Mount Trashmore, which you can get from the neighborhood over to Mount Trashmore. It's like that for Carolanne Farms, but more for the park dynamic, and adding to that the kayak and canoe launch. And so being close to that and close to the Elizabeth River is a nice alternative to being close to a place like Mount Trashmore. And as you come into the back of the neighborhood too, I think you'll have some real nice kind of quiet, relaxed vibes in that back area with all the trees and even access to the park too. Now the school districts are Arrowhead Elementary, Larkspur Middle School, and Kempsville High School. Now the shopping, you'll find that you're pretty close to what you get in Fairfield on the one side. The shopping areas like Food Line and the Kroger on one side, but on the other side is one of the drawbacks to being in Carolanne Farms or on this side is that you're close to Newtown Road, which this side of Newtown Road, it just feels kind of more, it's an older kind of an aged area that really hasn't gotten a big facelift yet. Now on the corner of Newtown, you'll see some newer buildings that have been renovated or knocked down and rebuilt. So that's starting to happen, but it's taking some time because it just feels like more of an industrial part of town. And as you get off onto to Kempsville Road on this side of the area, it just feels different off of Carolanne Farms around the Princess Anne Kempsville Road area. I could see why it could be a drawback to some people that would be moving here, especially from other parts of the country, because you just really wouldn't have any context of how nice this area is or isn't. You're close to the interstate system. You're just a couple turns and you're right to 264 all the way to you can take that all the way to the oceanfront, of course, and you're very close to 64 as well. And you're only a few minutes away from Costco, which I think is a big value. The only thing about me talking about grocery stores, I love Wegmans, I love Costco. I love going to Costco. Now, for my number one neighborhood in all of Virginia Beach for 2025, takes us back over to the eastern side of Virginia Beach. It is extremely hard to get into this neighborhood, but if you can jump, it is called Matthews Green. It is off of Princess Anne Road and close to General Booth Boulevard, Nemo Parkway. Zooming in right here, this is Matthews Green. It's a very small neighborhood, but man, is it awesome. The unique architecture of these houses, it's hard to find this style in the rest of this part of Virginia Beach, or even most of Virginia Beach, in a neighborhood format too. You get a real nice face, real nice house combined with real nice lot size. So in Matthews Green, you'll find different builders that built custom houses in the neighborhood, which kind of adds to the unique, vibe of driving through the neighborhood. But one of my favorite builders in the city or the area, Stephen Alexander Homes, built some of the houses in here. They pop in a way that most other new construction I see just doesn't. And I think they were ahead of the curve when it comes to more modern style houses, making windows really work for a floor plan. You'll see a lot of natural light, more than you might see in other new construction. I like Stephen Alexander Homes a lot. Most of the houses that they build are actually over maybe in Chesapeake, for example, a big neighborhood called Summer Park, which is where they built a lot of houses. Most of what you'd find in that area over in Grassfield School District in that Summer Park neighborhood is all Stephen Alexander. So if you're in Chesapeake, you can see some more examples of their construction. But I love Matthews Green because you have the mixture, but you also have some Stephen Alexander homes in here too. Mid 2000s, 2,800, 2,900 square feet, up to like 3,500, 4,000, 4,500, sometimes up to that square foot range. Big variety, built mostly in like the 2008, 9, 10 range, is like the 11, 12, that like 5, 6, 7 year window in that late 2000s, early teens and mid teens, which is really when you start seeing like that modern, even way more open floor plan than you even saw before then. Like the floor plans, if you noticed, starting in like the 70s and 80s, 90s, 2000s, it just got more and more open to where like this is about the pinnacle of what the kind of discovery of what open floor plans feel like. People loved them when they were built. I personally think you can get too open, but that's a whole different conversation. Very nice materials for these houses. Like the kitchens are outstanding. Nice big kitchens, plenty of space. If you want like a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom houses in some cases, those big 3,000, 4,000 square foot houses, you'll find them in Matthews Green. You just have to be ready for when the right one hits the market. And I think that that is worth the wait. Now the prices, at this point, you're talking, mid to upper 8s to start with. Mostly it will be between 9 and maybe 1.1 at this point. The problem is most of the houses at Matthews Green don't sell very much. So you might see 1 or 2 a year pop up. And also the school districts are in demand a lot too. Three Oaks Elementary School, Princess Anne Middle School, which is a new middle school built recently, and also Kellam High School, which is also relatively new too. So that's a big factor in this area. If you're in the southeastern part of Virginia Beach, you're coming here a lot of times for school districts. So most of the areas in this part, you're going to be paying for it, but you're going to get some real solid school districts in demand. Now in this part of Virginia Beach, you'll have a lot of shopping too, which it's actually a drawback I'll mention at the end, but so you've got Red Mill up right here next to Strawbridge right over here, two right next to each other, and then right down the street from there is the neighborhood. I mean, you're right close to a bunch of shopping that is some of the most accessible or some of the most in-demand shopping in all of southeastern Virginia Beach, and you're just down the street from it. You're also close to places like Sandbridge, which if you're in the rest of Virginia Beach, being near Sandbridge is like a novelty because it takes you 30 to 40 minutes to get to Sandbridge from the rest of Virginia Beach in a lot of cases. But if you're in Matthews Green or in the southeastern part, you're maybe 10, 15 minutes away from Sandbridge. But you're literally around the corner from Home Depot, Walmart, a bunch of other big box stores. My favorite seafood restaurant is down the street from here, Blue Seafood, which is in Red Mill. Love that. You're also close to the Princess Anne Rec Center, which is just around the corner on Nemo Parkway, which is a good point too, that if you are a resident of Virginia Beach, you're only paying just over $100 a year per person to be members of the rec center. There are several across the city that you can go to if you have a membership. You're close to all kinds of things, but the drawback to that is that you might not have as much reason to leave the area. So friends of yours or people you know, I mentioned this in the other videos, getting them to come to you or you going to them might not be as interesting. So you might start finding more friends closer to you because it's just an easier, convenient lifestyle. And so being in Red Mill or around Red Mill, like in Matthews Green, allows for not having to drive too far to get to different places. And so that can be a drawback if you want to kind of spread out a lot more. Love Matthews Green. I think if you, in 2025, if you find a house in Matthews Green and this is in your range for a house, like style, location, price range, I would jump on it as fast as you can because I don't know when you're going to find another one that will hit the market in Matthews Green. So if you have any more questions about relocating to Virginia Beach, the Hampton Roads area, let me know. It's what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So I have my contact information in the description. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate to the area. And I will see you on the next video.